Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Mehak Sharma and I make videos about my journey of coming to Norway, living here and all my travels. So if you have not subscribed to my channel, you can subscribe to my channel. In this video, I'm going to cover all the shocks you get as an Indian when you start working in Norway. So as I'm completing 1 year next week, I thought this is the right time to make this video. I have covered 7 shocks which I personally got when I started working here, and this is from my 1 year experience. So it may differ from what you felt, or you might have a different experience, or if you're not an Indian and watching this channel, you might relate to it. So number 1 shock which I felt was that the workday is very different here, because the workday starts real early. So when I say early, I have even seen my colleagues coming to office at like 7 a.m. which I would never even think of in India. And also in India, because we cater to US, UK clients, we also have late shifts, or even if we don't have, like, we don't start very early. At least that's what I have experienced. But here the workday starts real early and it ends early as well. And mostly what I have seen, it's around 8 to 4 kind of working hours, and that's the peak working hours here. But even people come before that. So yeah, that's the first shock I got, that the work day starts real early and it's very different from what I was used to. So that was a big change for me when I started my working experience in Norway. Second, which is related to the first one, which is that the lunch break starts at 11:30 a.m. So this is about my initial days in the office, and because I live very far, I don't reach very early. I don't start before 8:30 or 9, and then I realized that people start going on lunch at around 11:20 and 11:30. Most of the people are on lunch, and that's not the time usually an Indian will have a lunch. So that's another shock for me, that the lunch is very early, and then even the serving hours in canteen is very early. I think in my office end by 12:30 maximum. So which means that if you are dependent on eating in your cafeteria, you will also get used to eating lunch early. So that's another shock as an Indian, which you will have to change, and we are used to late lunches, which is not the case here. Another shock which is related to the second one, that lunch breaks are very early, and I even realized that the lunch breaks and coffee breaks, any breaks in the office are real short, because I was really used to a lot of my colleagues joining me for lunch and long lunch breaks. Even if it was scheduled to like 30-45 minutes, we used to sit and finish, for everybody to finish lunch. Maybe it's part of a culture, but here I felt that everybody have more of their individual lunches at the cafeteria. And then even if there's a colleague who joins you, sometimes if they finish early, they'll just leave the lunch table and they'll have a call and they can continue with that. And mostly I've seen they have a very timed lunch break, and they will finish it in like 15-20 minutes, while as per the working hours you are allowed to have a 30 minutes lunch break. But most of the people which I have seen, they even end their lunch break before that. Even for coffee and other snacks, what I have seen, that people get it to their desk, and they have a lot of habit of eating at their desk while working, which was not very common for me in India, which I felt is another shock which I got. Fourth one, I would say this is the best about working in Norway, because you have less work pressure and it is very flexible work life here, and that's why they are rated amongst one of the best country for best work-life balance. And you can experience that in the very initial days of my work journey here. I realized that that they are very flexible. So because all other services in Norway are mostly open from Monday to Friday, so if you have any doctor visit, that would also be within those hours, your working hours. So you can always apply for a flexi hours in office and go for your medical appointments. They even are very flexible if you have sick child at home. So all these things are very flexible when it comes to work hours, which I have not thought in India. and they even have sick leaves for your child sickness. So there are a lot of flexible things and work-life balance thing which they maintain, and which is like a basic hygiene here. And on this note, I really would love to tell you about other benefits of working in Norway, because I am in HR and I really want to share what I felt in terms of the policies, the benefits they give to their employees. How is it different and how is it good than other countries? And this is a very positive thing. Bosses are really understanding of that because they know, and everybody manages that in their flexible hours. Fifth one, and this you can feel it's very personal to me and you can relate to it as an Indian, I'm sure, but I'm not sure about other countries. What I have observed here after even working here for 1 year, I feel that your work colleagues are mostly just work colleagues, and that was not the case back in India for me. Like, all my work colleagues were best of my friends, connected with them, most of them now. Colleagues were also part of my personal life there. We were very connected, we were very close to each other, which is very different here. It's not that work colleagues are not friendly here. I'm not trying to say that. They are very friendly. We have a very good time in office, but mostly they are just limited to your work life, and then you have a personal life which is separate from your work life. And work colleagues are mostly work colleagues, and this is again my experience. Also comes from the Norwegians not being very social, and they take time in terms of involving expats in their normal circle, and that's the reason I believe that's even felt when you start working in Norway. The sixth one is related to holidays, and I know we used to have holiday breaks in India as well, but when I started working, it was around Feb. And if you have not seen my struggle of finding a job in Norway, I would really recommend you to watch that video. I'll pin it down here so you know how I found this job. So I also realized around June or July, everybody goes on a holiday. This is very common here. I think it's very common in all the European countries, but I have not worked anywhere else. So I'm talking about Norway here. So here, people around June and July, they take long breaks, and when I say long break, they even take 2 to 3 weeks break just to go on holidays. And it is like very common here. Your bosses will not have objection to it because they are bound to have those summer breaks, and you have like 25 days or even some people have 30 days leave balance, and they easily take around 3 weeks leave in one stretch, and then they enjoy holidays. So that was another shock, because I remember when I was working in India, even if people take a marriage leave, which is very long, which was mostly around 1 month, it was like something that you're taking a leave for long, you're away from office for so long. But here it's not the case. It's very normal that you take a long summer break, and as it was my first year of working, I didn't had any leaves, and I was the only one who was going to office like for every day in summers. It is a very good practice, I think, because everybody goes on a holiday, and actually I got a feeling of a summer break in schools which we used to have. And then even your work deadlines are designed in a way that they respect your summer breaks, and then they say, okay, once you're back, you finish this. So which also comes back to the point of the work flexibility here is very flexible. Seventh, which is the last one, most of this is like interlinked to each other, so that's why I'm not stretched this list, but you might have some others which I would love to hear from you in the comment section. If you are Indian and you're working in Norway, and if you're not Indian and even working from some other country, you can also share that with me. That would be interesting to know how you feel after coming from any other country and working here. What's your experience like? So the last one, I love Fridays in Norway. I used to love Fridays back in India as well, as we used to have a lot of activities in office, like fun Fridays, and we used to have a lot of our office events on Fridays. But Fridays here are just different. My shocks, some related to Friday, was that I have seen people saying that there can be no late meetings on Friday because people have their personal plans on Friday. And then I have even seen, like, I work in a hybrid model in my company, so I've seen most of the people work from home on Fridays so that they save the transport time, and which is very true in my case. So I'm talking about my experience, that I don't go to office on Friday. I can just finish my work day early and then I can just start the weekend. And this is the case in most of the cases. I've heard that they don't do late calls on Friday, that they end the Friday real early. So I really enjoy that here. Overall, these are my 7 shocks of working in Norway, which I got for you, and I really wanted to highlight just those things which were really shocking to me or which were really different to me. But there are other experiences as well which I want to share, and as I said, I will make a video on the benefits you get while you work from Norway as compared to other countries, and I will share the benefits from an HR standpoint as well. As you know, I'm an HR professional. If you didn't know, I just told you, and you can now subscribe to my channel to not miss such videos and know more about my work life and other useful information, and also some travel here and there on my channel. I hope this video was interesting for you. You learned something new, and if you are working in Norway, you connected with me and you feel the same. And if you have not worked in Norway, I have just prepared you for these shocks if you're coming to Norway or if you're finding a job in Norway. So that's it from me. This is Meg Sharma signing off. See you soon. Bye bye.